Regarding this rumbling noise when hand holding, you know what it's like. I went to bed. I thought, what is it? What can I do to find out? Somebody said in the comments, which I quite like, I like the idea of it, that there's a muscle noise there is muscle noise apparently. And I looked online, there's some sensors I can put on there. Could it be that? Joint noise, but they're not moving. The muscle's not moving, but maybe the holding the tension of the fibers creates noise. Well, apparently it does. And apparently if you squeeze your eyes, I hear a kind of rushing. I assumed it was blood rushing, but apparently that noise is muscle. I don't know. As you know, we're living in such a complex world with so many different ideas that absolutely anything could be baloney, really. What can you do, though? Let me remind you then of the issue. I'm going to switch to the Shure KSM8, which is the worst offender. I think I've got an idea possibly why, but it could be baloney as well. I'm going to switch to that and then pick it up, because somebody mentioned you didn't leave it on the desk, which I did on the video before, but I understand what they're saying. And yeah, the bass, not on this one, but on the others, is still boosted slightly. The reason for that is if you haven't got such good headphones, it's going to make it clearer. When the bass is flat, it's still noticeable, particularly on the KSM8. That's how I noticed it in the first place. Switching to the KSM8, and I'm going to pick it up. This is the KSM8. So you can hear it's picking up the fan and such. And there you can hear it. Now I have noticed that the harder I squeeze, the louder and slightly higher it gets. What I'm still baffled by is why. Holding it quite gently with these gloves, so I'd have thought that would absorb a lot of, if it's vibration. It's still there, undeterred. Well, I was lying in bed, wondering, thinking it must be vibration, surely. Somebody mentioned an electromagnetic. It occurred to me, well, dynamic microphones have a fairly heavy diaphragm with a former on the back and then a coil, so the whole assembly is quite heavy, which is why they don't reveal so much detail. I got to wondering, what about condensers? Because they've got a lighter diaphragm, so if something's coming through that's shaking the mic and you've got a heavy diaphragm, I'd imagine it's going to make that diaphragm move more than a very light diaphragm, though I could be wrong, because I'm no physicist. It seems that way to me, but you've got to be careful with what seems that way. I thought to myself, well, let me try condensers. Let me try a 1-inch diaphragm condenser, the Sennheiser E965. That's probably got the heaviest of the condenser diaphragms, or a heavier. I'll try the Earthworks SR40V, because that's got a tiny diaphragm, and I believe the frequency response must be made up in the circuitry. It's got a tiny light diaphragm, because it's all about transient response with the Earthworks, so light is the key. And then, of course, why not a ribbon mic? I don't know which has the lightest. I imagine this would, of the three I've just mentioned, would have the heaviest. These two, would the diaphragm in this be heavier because it's quite small than that tiny bit of really fine aluminium? I'd imagine maybe, don't know, maybe this would be lighter. So let me see. I'll just go through them then. This is the Shure KSM8. There we go again with the Shure KSM8. Going to switch to the Sennheiser E965. That's the Sennheiser. Can you hear it's there on the E965, but a lot lower? Not frequency, in volume. If I squeeze hard on the E965, makes it a bit louder. If I really relax my grip, which actually might be the way I'd hold it, very little. Alright, so I'm expecting, for whatever balanistic reason, for the Earthworks to be quieter still if it's to do with weight of diaphragm. Going over to the Earthworks. On the SR40V, I'm going to squeeze harder. It's still there, but if I'm loose, very little. Less than the Sennheiser? I think so. Back to the Sennheiser. Yes, less than the Sennheiser. I'm going to move on now to the ribbon microphone, the Beyerdynamic M500. Just going to put the gain up. I've tested this before because the ribbons are low, very low output, so I've just set the gain up and it's on the table here. You hear the fan from the Beyerdynamic M500. It's still there, but even less. If I squeeze hard, if I squeeze really hard, and if I hold it as I normally do, silent. Well, I still don't know what it is. Is it my particular body? Pretty sure it's not the equipment because I've said I've tried it on other things. What it actually is, I don't know. I wonder then, this one being particularly noisy with it, if it is to do with vibration being transmitted to the diaphragm. This, of course, is a dual diaphragm. The two diaphragms, somehow or other, are meant to mitigate proximity effect. Yet I notice the handling noise in this is very low. A lot of low stuff going through. So I'm wondering if, yes, it reduces the bass when being used for the voice, because I don't know if it creates some cancellation or something around here. But is it the case that when it's vibration transmitted to the thing itself, that instead of just one diaphragm doing that and creating that background noise, on this one you've got the mass of two diaphragms, and in that, maybe in that mode, they don't cancel in the same way that they're designed, maybe, I'm just wondering if that's why this one is louder than the other dynamics, which I did last time. This is the loudest of the dynamics, and all the dynamics are louder than these light diaphragm models, the two condensers, and certainly the ribbon. But that could be nonsense. Anyway, before I go, these three are plugged in. Oh, it does it on this one too. Obviously it's an clamp and stuff, but I can still hear that going on. Before we go then, just to refresh your ears, why not? This is the Beyerdynamic M500. This is the Beyerdynamic... Oh, let me set things flat because the bass was boosted from doing that test. Yeah. This is the Beyerdynamic M500. This is the Beyerdynamic M500. This is the Sennheiser E965. This is the Sennheiser E965. And this is the Earthworks SR40V. Earthworks SR40V, Sennheiser E965, Beyerdynamic M500. Earthworks SV 33. Be seeing you.